Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wise Tips. Eduardo, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing good, doing good. It's been a long weekend and it's been a really busy and exciting week already, and it's only Tuesday, so I'm pumped.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end of the year, so
Yes.
breeding season is around the corner, so people have to gear it up.
Yeah, you know what? It seems like breeding season is all year nowadays, but yes, I
True.
guess the official, Northern Hemisphere breeding season is just right around that corner.
Yeah, that's the time for people to get ready. And like always, we try to bring good hints and tips for non-users and as well as, of course, our Wise Option family, our users. So I think we should start with the non-users first, so we can, bring some value to the folks out there.
That sounds good. I guess let's go ahead and dive into that. So, all right, I'll go ahead and I'll pose the question to you first then. What do you think would be your number one tip for breeding season for somebody who is not using Wise Option?
Uh, uh, Find a way to record your charges. I don't know if it is going to be a whiteboard, a voice recorder on your phone. Um, Clearly, post-its is not a good option because they simply
No.
fly away. Uh, the, uh, and the number one, I've been to several seminars and lectures where they explore this as a huge problem, where people simply perform their services, but they don't charge.
Mhm.
Of course, our users have the system right there in the mobile device today, which even allows them to do on the go. But when you don't have something, it's very important that you make your money. Um, um, so you can pay us to help you to make more money yet. But the idea is, it's the number one problem that's people don't charge properly. That would be the number one. I think there are many ways on your phone today. Everybody has a mobile smartphone. There are so many different apps that you
It's
can
true.
use as a collector for your reminders so you can take notes. Hard copy, I understand people have a huge appreciation for hard copy and computers. But as I think the stigma about backups and electronic records is not as bad as it used to be, 5, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now we have more redundancies with the cloud as far as backups. You know, uh, Records are duplicated in different platforms, so you can have on the phone, on the tablet, on your computer. So just please find a way to write down somewhere when you perform things. A voice recorder has helped me tremendously
Yeah.
when I'm, doing walks or when I'm simply driving and I remember something, I take notes. Even the Apple Watch comes with a nice voice recorder. It's important to make the money. That would be,
Yeah.
I think, the number one.
Yeah, definitely. And also having that accessibility for everybody too. As you mentioned, of course, our users have a system that's, integrated across all those platforms. And so you can, of course, have one user on one side of the property doing things and having someone else there. But if
Yes.
you're not utilizing a system like that, still finding things out there like, for instance, like Google Sheets and things like that, where you can have collaborative things so that it's all in one place rather than you have 10 different people doing 10 different things and 10 different binders that
Yes.
then at the end of the day you have to go through. So trying to find small ways to consolidate your data, like I said, whether it's through some sort of mobile program, a voice recording that you can compile in at the end of the day.
Mhm.
But yeah, something that kind of has that collaborative effort.
True. Yes. So number two, let's see. Number two for non-users, I would say to avoid when you don't have a system that has record keepings. Usually, we're going to see farms with those binders, Mare cards
Right.
inside, which means data hoggers. They will put the binder, under. Some will take that as a job security. I think it's. Uh, I want to believe that's not that often, but when you have the records only on the hard copy, uh, for a business that is making money out of breeding horses and collecting on and especially taking care of the pregnant mares, the reminders and how important is to follow, because you can lose a very expensive foal. Now here we are talking about larger bills. It's which is, don't let somebody only one person to be responsible for a book. One of the hardest things that we have in Wise Option is to wean out people off the binders. But it's one of the best benefits because then everybody has access to the information. And when a customer calls, somebody can provide the information to the client. Maybe replicating it. This is one of the cases I recommend redundancies. So maybe, if they still have the binder, nowadays you can help grad students on internships to come and maybe transfer that to a Google spreadsheet that you can keep on the cloud. And therefore, maybe other people in the office can share the information instead of just maintaining the Mare records under one person. So I would say trying to broadcast the information more across so you don't have everything. Redundancy in this particular case is a good one. Yes. And I believe you have seen situations like that as well.
Yes, and unfortunately, I have firsthand account knowledge of when you have to call a clinic for information, and especially for reproduction, and you're talking about that typically one Mare binder, and you call and they go, well, I'm gonna have to call you back tomorrow or maybe later that day, if you're lucky, because the vet's out right now in the truck and he has the binder. No one else has access to that information, and therefore, as a client, it's really difficult to get information. It can be very frustrating when then they have to seem like they have to call 5 different people because not everybody has access to the information that they should, in order to help those clients.
Yes. Well, number 3, I would say, if possible, try to cut redundancies. Amazes me the number of times people do over and over and over the same thing multiple times. I think in that case, it's hard without a system like Wise Option. But if there's anything that you're doing 2-3 times, I would pay attention to redundancies. Every time a human being has to write something or transfer information from one point to another, our brains never write the same sentence exactly the same. So redundancies is a big problem. But in that range, I think we are already hitting the point where the system is important. Maybe not Wise Option or anything else that you can put in place. I think you can start incipient with smaller versions. Even the Wise Option, now we are having, smaller packages that you don't have. You don't have the entire complex set of tools that we have to offer for large facilities. But small facilities today have the access. So cutting redundancies, it's an important thing. I think that at the end of the day, what is important for any facility to pay attention is that when they make an investment on any sort of logistic improvement into their facility, it's also good to have a pair of eyes who comes from outside, a consultant or somebody that comes and pay attention. Anything that you can do, you are expediting your process, you're decreasing the labor, and therefore you are making your business more profitable. Efficiency, it's equal profitability. So systems like Wise Option, they come as an investment. If it doesn't help you to save hours, defeats the purpose, doesn't make sense to make investment on that. What, thankfully, and that's why we are here, it's because we have seen that it does work. And if you're not at the point yet to invest in a system like Wise Option, at least I'm pretty sure that will be several things you can do internally to, cut redundancies and make your system, your workflow more intuitive and not so repetitive.
Yes, definitely. I think that's a good segue into some tips now for current users. But thank you for sharing that, because it is very true that a lot of this, and whether you use Wise Option or not, the biggest thing is to, if something's not working, make some change. And it doesn't have to be, let's throw away the binders, let's, just throw everything away we're currently doing. Make small changes. And like you said, I really like that. Just analyzing where you're doing things twice, I think, is a great first way to start. You're not really sure what you need. Maybe you need a software, maybe you don't. Maybe you just have something that's just not working as efficiently as it could, and that's a perfect way to start, and to start small.
I even want to make ourselves available. If you're not at the point to have Wise Option yet, contact us. We'll be gladly talk to you, because if you grow, maybe in the future you can have us. But in a very genuine way, I would like to offer to those of you out there, contact us. We can discuss. And even like I was mentioning about consultant, we can give you some good names of people that can come to your business. And because we have seen major transformation in some of our clients just by, getting the best and good advices to how to improve their operations.
Yes, definitely. Well, like I
Now,
said, I think
switching
that's a
gears,
pretty
let's
good
go to our
segue.
users.
Yeah, let's go to our
Oh man,
users.
they're gonna have a bunch of new candies and good stuff this year, huh?
I know. Let's try and keep it to some main ones. Let's do some of the new features, of course, because we cannot mention those as well. But let's do some also. Maybe let's do one hidden one that we don't see a lot of users using yet. That has been available for a while.
What I would let you, I'm curious to see. I have mine, but I'm so curious to hear which one is
Do
your best.
do your big no. You start with the big ones first. I like giving
Yeah,
away the
no,
fresh
there's no
candy.
way. DocuSign,
Ah,
DocuSign is the guy.
yes,
You know,
yes,
there are so many back and forward with documents, back and forth documents going, scanning, signature. Now everything done through Wise Option. So you create the template in Wise Option. Wise Option merge the data into the document. Wise Options communicates with DocuSign. DocuSign sends the envelope to the people. They sign. The document comes back into Wise Option, and it's attached to the contract, to the patient file, and no scanners, no PDF, no emails, nothing. Everything is done automatically.
yep,
That's going to be such a huge time savings for our clients, for our users. It's
yes,
not even funny. Of course, there will be some investment, as you know, in regards to receiving the training, learning how to set up, but it's a one-time deal. Once it's
mhm,
done, you basically, or not basically, literally, you put the computer to work for you. That back and
exactly.
forth on DocuSign and our new contracts module, I think it's the most exciting in regards to breeding season. Talking about the
Yes.
breeders, we have another set of good candies for the hospitals and clinics and mobile vets and stuff like that. But specifically, since the podcast here today is about breeders, I have no doubt that's going to be the number one. Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. And I think it goes beyond, and it goes, I think everyone thinks when we say contracts, the first thing, of course, they think of is, well, stallion breeding contracts. And yes, that is a big one. That is a major one for a lot of people out there, but it goes beyond stallion breeding contracts either, and helpful for a lot of breeding facilities, no matter if whatever you need a signature on, whether it's a consent form for a procedure, or whether it's an ET contract, anything you need that signature on, you can utilize that DocuSign integration for.
Yes. Well, number two for our users, I would say more training.
I
And no matter
knew
if
you
you
were
are
going to
with
throw
us
that in
for
there.
18 years, like we have clients with us almost for 20 years. So it doesn't matter. We are constantly innovating, and we have now the mobile app. Amazes me to see how still we have clients not participating in our Facebook description, not utilizing the mobile app, and some
Yeah.
of them still going for the large, long paths of clicks,
Yes.
since we have so many new tools that allows them to make exactly the same thing with a
Yeah.
third, sometimes even less than that.
Yeah. Well, and just it just is the same way the industry is not staying the same either. And we're seeing that I think this year and into next year more than I think we have in a very long time. We like to be able to keep up with the industry. And so that's where these new features and functions and tools come from, is from our users and is from the industry itself, especially with how dynamic the breeding industry is. And so, the system is not the same way as it was 3 years ago. And in 3 years from now, it's going to be
Yes.
different as well. And so the constant conversations that I have with our users are fantastic. And I love my favorite thing, and I will not stop saying this, but my absolute favorite thing is when I get a user that comes to me and says, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and where else can I go? Where they want to say, or maybe they notice something in their business, they notice a redundancy in their business, and they say, how can we use Wise Option to help this? Is that a thing? And I
Listen,
can
those
point
are the
them towards
best.
directions
Those
and
are the ones who literally put the computer to work for them. and
Exactly. And
looking for every single gap, you know.
yes,
Of course, it's important to say to all of you out there, we never share numbers, we never share, you know, confidentiality. We really respect the privacy, but we can share with you guys practices, you know, things that you
methods,
can
tools.
do that do work. So if you invest 30 minutes with us, we might save you an hour per week. Imagine. So
Yeah.
it's all about benefits.
Yes.
Training is a key factor in your success. Learning how to use the tools. You might have a huge airplane in your hands, but if you don't know how to fly.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, mine will not be as profound. It's much smaller, but it is something because I can speak from personal experience on this one, and so I want to give my little 2 cents on it. The Mare records, and that's when you go to the Mare from the home screen, Mare management, Mare records. It has two main functions, which is what I typically tell people. The first is in the beginning of breeding season, which is I think what a lot of people use it for. Mostly that's it, is the massive scheduling, right? Beginning of breeding season, you're going to palpate all of your recips next Wednesday. So you want to schedule 80 mares at once.
Start
Perfect
the
for
thing
that.
rolling.
Exactly. Start your daily worksheet rolling. That's fantastic. And I'm not advocating against it. That's a great use of it. The second use of it, which I don't see used often enough, which is the auditing purpose of that. This has saved myself so much time, and also it will help you sleep better at night, I promise. To be able to go through all of your active mares in the system and to be able to see their last palpation, when they were last seen, and when or if they have a reschedule date. That's the biggest one, guys. We try
Oh,
and
on the
make
hard
it
copy, it's very
so
easy for you to let one of them just having a nice life out there. So
exactly.
with
I
this
mean, there,
process, we can easily catch those.
and that's the hardest thing. And I think, we've tried to at every single, outlet, especially when you're entering a palpation or you're entering in a transfer, whatever you're doing. I think the last question in almost any of the reproduction stuff is, do you want to reschedule the mare? Like every single time. And that was from our users saying, telling us like they have such a hard time making sure that they don't, quote, fall off the list, right? You don't want to
Exactly.
just see them once and then forget to reschedule them. That's everybody's worst nightmare, right? And that's one of the biggest things on that Mare record. It's so easy to just go down the list and be like, this one has an NA in the rescheduled date. Oh my gosh, she's not been rescheduled. Why hasn't she? And maybe it
Yes.
was for a reason. Maybe she left and you just forgot to check her out and she's still active, which is still something that needs to be changed. But that Mare record sheet there, that can save you guys so much headache later on, and I guarantee you guys will sleep better at night.
I think that the day one person catches at least one mare through that tool, they never
Yes,
stop going there on a daily basis just to make sure.
exactly.
Because
Yes,
it's
and
so cool when you see, there you are.
yeah, it's something that ideally I would say look through once a day. And maybe at the end of the day when you're done entering your palpations. At the very least, I'd say once a week. At the very least,
Yeah, it's just one scanning and you can catch right there on your eyes. It's very easy. That's a pretty good one. Well, there's so many other things coming, so maybe in another
yeah,
session we can go over them. But text message is going to be way faster. I was testing it this morning. It's the
awesome.
performance has improved a lot. Credit card
Right.
processing, we are changing processors. There were some hiccups there for security, of course, new certificates and stuff like that. It's a complex deal, but we are on top of things. I think it's going to be expedited. The new
Awesome.
contracts, the new ICSI module that is coming, the cloud ID. There are so many things going, but on top of everything, we're going to invest a lot on the mobile app. So you guys out there, pay attention to the mobile app.
Yes.
Take a look at the list of new features because it's going to be hard to keep up with us. We are putting a lot of effort, and I hope you guys enjoy the new features that Rachel and we are drafting for you guys.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for your time, Eduardo. And to
Thank you,
everyone who
Rachel.
watched, thank you so much for your time. And if you haven't already, if you're a Wise Option user, make sure that you download the Wise Option mobile app to start seeing some of the things that we've talked about. So we hope to talk to you guys soon again.
I'll see you. See you next time. Bye.